Welcome to the last studio on the Boulevard. My name is Clay Blair, and I am bringing you a unique podcast based out of my studio in Hollywood, California. I've never done a podcast. I've done YouTube, and usually I do it on my own, but with this, I'm going to integrate something really interesting. I am going to bring people to the table that have worked here, not only in the past decade, but in the past 3 or 4 decades also. So I just want to get your support, your attention, and start a conversation with my listeners, maybe people you want to hear on the podcast that have been through the studio, either since I've owned it or since it was owned by previous owners. I also want to make this an avenue for friends of the studio, other engineers, producers, musicians that have always maybe wanted to do a podcast and never had the infrastructure to make it happen. And I'm providing this infrastructure, and I'm going to make it happen. We're going to have a couple series throughout this podcast. At the moment, I don't have a schedule, but I do know we have the very beloved Bill Schnee coming on the podcast first thing. He will be our first official guest. I met Bill when I first took the studio over in 2010, and I figured out its history, and he was instrumental in telling me what the studio was, what it wasn't, who was in there, who wasn't, because there's lots of conflicting information out there when all you have to go on are old Billboard articles and Discogs. Bill is an incredible engineer and one of the best that there ever were, and I'm beyond excited to have Bill here and also have it curated by Mr. Bonsai. Many of you don't know Mr. Bonsai, but many of you might. He was a staple at United Recording, formerly Ocean Way, for many, many years and did publicity there. And he's instrumental also in keeping studios alive. And he knows these guys. He's known most of the people that have worked in this studio in the 60s, 70s, 80s. He's known them for many years. And so there's no one more knowledgeable from that era. So we're really excited to have both of these guys on this podcast, and we're going to call that series Bonsai Boulevard. So when Mr. Bonsai comes and interviews a guest, that's going to be like a sub-series called Bonsai Boulevard. And we're going to keep other episodes going at the same time. I'm going to be doing interviews. I might be interviewed, and I very well might have a guest interviewing someone else, and I might do nothing but edit it and put it up. You know, I want to get into the nerdy questions that, what microphone did you put on David Gilmour's amp when he played the solo for Comfortably Numb? Well, I know the guy that did that, so we're going to see if we can get him on the podcast also. Please subscribe. Please share it with your friends. We're going to also have video with many of these podcasts. Not all of them, but many of them that will go on our YouTube channel. You should be able to subscribe to this podcast anywhere you can subscribe to podcasts. We are going to be on all of the main mediums, Apple, Spotify, etc. So thank you for listening. This is Clay Blair.